gorgeous Wednesday morning it is here in Surfside, California. Man, and do we have a lot to talk about. I'm getting set up for the MB right now. Beautiful morning, not much wind at all. We're going to have weather, however. There is some wind coming, especially if you're fishing out there on Tanner and Cortez, but just spectacular fishing going on south of the border here in Southern California, up in Northern California. It's what the MB was made for, to get you up to date. Stay tuned. It's coming up next.
There you go. Oh, it's heavy. Oh my God, help him. Give me over.
Daytime bluefin bite is ecstatic. We recommend you coming out here.
30 pound?
Yep,
30 pound option?
Yeah.
Color!
Coming right now.
There we go. Woo-hoo. There you go, buddy. Captain Hal putting us on him. Woo!
Yeah, there we go. We got two going. We're working on crew limits here. Awesome day of fishing aboard the Voyager.
Thank you, Captain Hal.
Absolutely. Good job, Ethan. Just keep turning the handle for me.
Buddy, I'm on the spool, free spool. Hell yeah.
Walk this one down.
Oh. Woohoo. Kakawati.
Woo!
Rusty from the freelance. I just want to go over a little bit of tackle recommendations, tips we've been seeing on our 3/4 days lately. We had pretty good fishing on the bass and bonita primarily today. As far as tackle goes, you know, the bonita, all you need right now is like the 1 ounce jig, maybe a 42 gram or a 60 gram Cold Sniper, or a 1 or a 2 ounce P-line minnow. I like the smaller the better, because there's a lot of anchovy over there at the island, so the bonita and the bass seem to be keen in on the small bait like that. For the plastics, these little fluke plastics are really good for the calico bass. So if I were fishing any sort of artificial lure right now, it would be this right here. I wouldn't go any higher than 2 ounces. Everything's pretty small profile. And the reason I like using the lures is I can go up on the bow of the boat and I don't have to go back and forth to the bait tank. There's a lot of times, especially when the bonita are biting like they are, they'll bite the bait, they'll kill it, and then you gotta walk back all the way to the bait tank, put another bait on, and just kind of keep repeating the process. So the lure just helps you keep fishing more. And this is size 2. You can get away with the size 2. You could also get away with a 2/0, something a little bit bigger than that. If I were coming fishing, I would have like a 15 pound setup and a 20 or 25 pound setup, and that's all you really need. Small lure like this, some fluorocarbon, a little plastic if you want, and a couple of hooks. But that's all you need right there if you're coming fish with us here in the next week.
Thank you. Thank you. Number 5.
Is that a personal best?
For tuna, yeah.
What do you think, bud?
I tell my wife to tuck that slice. I just got a couple small ones.
On September 24th through the 26th, we'll be on board the Apollo, and you are invited for this very special 2-day trip. It is limited to only 21 anglers, includes all meals, and should be fantastic. This is when we have our best weather months in the fall, and the Apollo, they've been on their game this year. Outstanding fishing and really nice weather. Then we're going to switch over to the Amigo out of 22nd Street Landing in San Pedro, California for another 2-day adventure. October 6th through the 8th should be another great trip. Tanner, Cortez Bank, and anywhere else the fish are. Don't forget, text me at 657-227-6459 to get on board the Apollo and or the Amigo. Best weather months of the year, and hopefully lots of fish for you to catch. Hey, good morning, my dear friends, and welcome to beautiful Surfside, California. This absolutely gorgeous Wednesday morning. It is beautiful, very little wind, really gorgeous sunrise going on here. And as always, it's an honor and a pleasure for me to spend some time with you. We've got a lot to talk about. As we mentioned when we came into the show today, there's a lot going on south of the border. We're going to cover the Bluefin tuna zone, which has been spectacular out there on Tanner and Cortez. Make about a 90 to 100 mile run for most landings in Southern California. We'll check out and see if there's any white sea bass in the Channel Islands. San Francisco has been off the hook. Great lingcod fishing in Santa Barbara. And of course, we'll look at the coastal situation, the islands, everything you need to know right here. You know what time it is. It is time for the morning briefing. Good morning, my friends. Oh, I hope you're having a cup of coffee or something else that you're imbibing in here this morning. It is so great to be with you all. If you don't mind, hit that like button. We deeply appreciate it when you do that. You can also share these videos with a friend. Subscribe to the Friedman Adventures YouTube channel and tick that little bell. You'll be notified when there is new content. You can also follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Boy, I tell you, thousands, tens of thousands of views and subscribers. I owe that all to you. Thank you so very much. All right, let's get into it because there is so much to talk about. First of all, I want to mention that we are collecting used tackle. When I say we, Diego Nuno, who was born on the island of Cedros, he's a deckhand on board the Royal Star and a dear friend of yours truly. I love Diego. He's got a heart of gold. He's a really great guy. We're collecting used tackle for the kids on Cedros Island that we'll be getting down to them in a month or so, maybe a little bit longer than that. But all this tackle is going to go down there. You can drop that tackle off at Young's Fishing Tackle in Bellflower, California, at Big Fish Bait and Tackle in Seal Beach, California, at Island Fishing Tackle in Carson, California, and now Eric's Fishing Tackle in Ventura. Eric, thank you so very much, as well as Ventura Sport Fishing. You can drop off used tackle that the kids on the island can use, and it will be deeply, deeply appreciated. If you happen to have been a passenger on the jig strike, I would love to have a conversation with you and learn more about what happened. Just send me a text and we'll chat. 657-227-6459. And also, don't forget, my friends, if you're having tax problems, call Tim Marquez. He will take care of everything for you. And heating and or air conditioning needs, John Lopez at Efficient Heating and Air Conditioning. Let's jump into it. Let's go south of the border down to the beautiful coastal town of Ensenada, Baja, California. Only a 70-mile drive, and you are there. And they're catching a few more bluefin tuna offshore. Wind's going to come up on us a little bit, and that is always problematic when you're fishing in smaller boats like pongas. But there has been some BFT out there. It's that 15 to 40-pound fish, for the most part, trolled Mad Mac lures. Probably the majority of the fish coming that way, but there's also throwing a popper or even a dart lure, even more effective, like a Daiwa Sakana 120 gram lure has been really, really effective on those bluefin tuna. Not wide open, but a little bit of fish. The better bite, if you're looking for variety and consistency, is definitely down there around Santo Tomas and even out there around Todos Santos Island. It's been very good. We have those breezers of yellowtail that bite on the surface iron, and it's run and gun fishing. That means when you see a bird school, you run over there full speed, shut down on it, and then throw an iron and take a couple of winds. That is so much fun. Using 40 to 50 pound mono on that jig, you definitely want to be fishing heavier line. And something like a Tatty 45 works really well. A lot of guys like the mint color. I've seen them biting down there on scrambled egg and blue and white. All those colors seem to be getting bit. The most important thing is an accurate cast and then winding through all of that commotion. And man, your heart will stop when you get bit on those yellows. Some barracuda flurries down there, still some great calico bass and sand bass fishing, and copious amounts of colorful and delicious eating rockfish for your fish taco feast. Really good stuff. Hey, Sam De La Torre from Island Fishing Tackle, Tim Marquez, our tax guy, and several other great people are on the island of Cedros right now. They're all taking off on their pongas for a day of yellowtail action. I'll keep you up to date on how they're doing as the day goes on. May even try to hook up a live transmission so we can see those guys catching yellows down there in Cedros. That should be a lot of fun. Let's talk about some outstanding fishing on the long range scene, and it just keeps going on and on and on. It has been a magnificent summer for the 7 to 8 day boats. They just keep cranking big numbers of nice grade yellowfin tuna. The Independence yesterday, full speed, wide open yellowfin tuna fishing for the Independence. In fact, they are limited out now. They've had just a tremendous trip. The grade of fish is the best that we've seen in decades down there. A lot of 40 to 70 pound yellowfin tuna, some smaller than that, but a lot of that bigger grade yellowfin tuna, and full speed. You can go back there and pitch a bait on 100-pound and get a bite when the intensity goes through the roof. And it has been skyrocketing on a regular basis. It's been such great fishing. The Independence went south looking for yellowtail and picked off 25 forkies down the beach there a little way. So today they may be looking for a yellowtail bite. XL and offloading, a great trip. They've had tremendous fishing. Royal Polaris, Intrepid, Red Rooster, all the boats that have been down the Baja coast 400 or 500 miles, down around the ridge, down there around Alijos Rocks, have been reporting outstanding fishing. So I don't know how it can get much better than that. Hey, I forgot to mention the boat Azteca down there in Ensenada, by the way. Paulina, my co-host in Mexico, when I'm in Mexico, she is my co-host. She does such a great job. And she sent this photo along of the Azteca out of Ensenada with a marlin. There is certainly a lot of marlin down there off Ensenada, off San Diego, and up here in SoCal. We've got them out there near Catalina Islands, as evidenced by the gale force just the other day out of LA Harbor sport fishing, catching a marlin. So pretty cool stuff, no question about it. Let's go out to Tanner and Cortez Bank, where the bite has been spectacular. If you're on a day and a half trip or better, it is hard to not catch limits of bluefin tuna right now. It has been that good. On the Freedom, Dave Choate, Wahoo Dad, was out there. He said, nice fishing on the Freedom. We had bluefin tuna, some yellows, a white sea bass, really great fishing. On board the Amigo, man, I'll tell you, look at that big, giant bluefin tuna coming over the rail for Glenn. Glenn was the charter master on this trip. Everybody on board the Amigo having a great time, and just another example of the great fishing to be had out there on Tanner and Cortez. Now, to be sure, most of the fish out there are 15 to 40 pounds. A lot of that 20 to 40 pound grade bluefin tuna on Tanner and Cortez. Tanner's been really hot lately, but Cortez Bank also producing. But at night, and even sometimes during the daytime, you'll get that 150 pound stuff. So you do want to bring your nighttime jigs if you're on a 2 or 3 day trip. You definitely want to be doing that. You want to fish that 350 gram, and you might be bumping it up to 500 grams in this kind of wind that we expect to be occurring. I'll have the weather here for you in just a second and let you know what we think is going to happen. And again, we do have a window of opportunity on the weekend that we'll discuss with you further. Great trip on board the Amigo, the Highliner, also with some big fish. Check out the deck of the Highliner. Most of their fish were the smaller grade, but you'll get a shot at that bigger grade stuff, so you definitely want to bring your heavy tackle. For sure, when you're fishing that bluefin in the daytime, it can be finicky at times, so you're going to want to go to a 25 pound and a smaller hook, and a good hot bait, a butt hook bait, works really well in this bite. Sometimes, many times, you long soak your bait. Other times, you're changing your bait regularly. How do you know when to employ what strategy? You be observant. Watch everybody around you, see what's working, what's really getting the most bites, and just be a copycat. Go for it. And talk to your crew members, because they are on that. They know exactly what is going on. The new Loan just finishing up a great trip, and Gino Machino was on that trip. Gino said it was outstanding. Limits of bluefin tuna on this trip. He said in the daytime, 25 to 40 pound bluefin tuna were biting. At night, it was 60 to 90 pound bluefin tuna. I don't know how it can get much better than that. Russ Branham from Seattle, Washington, with a beautiful big bluefin tuna that went 160 pounds. Russ, Nice going. His personal best. He was stoked as can be. And they had absolutely pristine and gorgeous weather. And Gino said that crew of the New Low-End, he doesn't know how it can get any better than the boys on the New Low-End. They did another fabulous job. Jimmy Big Fish Mickelson was on that trip also. They did focus some attention on catching some rockfish after they limited out on the bluefin tuna, and a nice big 20-pound lingcod for Jimmy on that trip. So lots of big reds and so much more to add to a spectacular catch on the New Low-End. Jolene Thompson was on a 3-day trip on board the Pacific Voyager. What a trip it was. Jolene said that Mark Ornos and the crew of the Pacific Voyager were fantastic, doing just a magnificent job on this trip. They had some bigger fish on there. In fact, in that photo, you're going to see Richard Keogh. Hey, Richard! Stefan Grobecker, CJ Joseph. CJ had those big eye tuna up in the northern region, Bodega Bay here recently. And 14-year-old Eric Michaels with some great fish. Those fish in the 130 to 175 pound class. Again, most of their fish 20 to 40 pounders, limiting out on that, but also an opportunity at some big stuff. How can you beat that? Once again, hard to find boats that don't have limits of that 20 to 40 pound bluefin tuna. Let's talk weather out there now. It's breezy out there right now. Guys are catching bluefin tuna about 12 knots of breeze, 15 knots. Going to come up and get pretty breezy. The window of opportunity that I see is Saturday morning. Saturday morning looks pretty good out there on Tanner and Cortez Bank. Around that time, however, I'm talking about from now until that time and even after that, it's going to be very breezy, sometimes really, really breezy. It seems like if the long-range forecast is correct, Sunday is going to be a very breezy day, even Saturday afternoon. But that window of opportunity is open right now. Remember, these forecasts are fluid. They change, so we have to keep our eye on it very, very closely. We'll continue to do that for you. But it looks like Saturday is when you get a window. Now, that's not to say guys are out there fishing right now, but it's going to be breezy, okay? It's going to be breezy, and it may get to the point where it gets too breezy. We'll keep our eyes on the ball for you all and keep you all up to date. If you're headed to Catalina Island, and I'll tell you right now, the El Patron is going on Thursday. That's tomorrow. They've got an open party trip to Catalina Island, catching bass, catching barracuda, catching bonita, whitefish, sheephead, you know, just picking at all that stuff. But man, I'll tell you, the El Patron, limited load, great crew, lots of fun, speedy boat, www.longbeachsportfishing.org. Get on the El Patron on Thursday. Join them for that special open party trip. Let's talk about the islands now. Coronado Islands are bouncing back. Some pretty good yellowtail action there. However, it lacks consistency in terms of really big bites. But man, I'll tell you, every once in a while you get a nice hit, like 50 yellows. And then other times, like yesterday, the Mission Belle had 15 yellowtail. Sergio Munoz is a private boater, and he had some nice yellows at the Coronado Islands. Guys out there continue to pick some bass and rockfish, and a good amount of yellowtail. I'm telling you, the Coronado Islands have been as good as they have been for many, many years, and still excellent fishing there, just not consistently cranking out 80 yellows, 100 yellows. I mean, perhaps that was just a dream come true, but it went on for such a long time, and it wouldn't surprise me to see a rebite of that nature in the fall here. So we'll keep watching it for you very, very closely. Offshore, don't forget the San Diego the other day had 5 yellowfin tuna. And we wonder out loud, is that something that is in our future? Are we going to get an influx in the fall of warm water species? Perhaps we will. Maybe some Dorado, maybe some yellowfin tuna. And if you really want to dream big, a wahoo or two. Been plenty of marlin around, which suggests warm water. And then, you know, you juxtapose that against some local fishing that never came together because of cooler water, temperatures that just weren't really turning the fish on locally. But that's what makes the ocean so enigmatic and mysterious. It really is a game, and we got to try to unravel it and figure it out every single day. So we'll continue to watch that for you very, very closely. Out there At San Clemente Island, we continue to see, when you're not fishing bluefin tuna, occasional hits on the white sea bass. If you can make some squid, you're going to have the ammo you need, number one, to catch a sea bass or a dropper loop yellowtail. You're also in the zone. If you're making squid, there's a squid nest there, obviously. And of course, there's going to be predators right there around that zone. So dropper loop fishing with heavy line like 60-pound, an 8-ounce, 12-ounce, sometimes 16-ounce torpedo sinker is a great way to hang a sea bass or a yellow, and at times it gets really good, as evidenced by the Amigo a few days ago when they had limits of bluefin tuna and limits of white sea bass in absolutely tremendous fishing. The Pursuit at Catalina Island had a yellowtail. A day before, they were at Santa Barbara Island and put the wood to the whitefish and a variety of other species back to Catalina, and then picked it all those other species that we've been talking about: calico bass, sheephead, whitefish, rockfish. You know, that variety exists there at Catalina. It's just not big numbers, but good to see a yellow on board the Pursuit out of 22nd Street Lane, and they're making their way across right now to Catalina Island as we speak here this morning. So really great stuff going on. We'll keep our eyes on that for you very, very closely. San Nicolas Island got looked at yesterday by the Endeavor. They had tons of great rock fishing out there. No sea bass, no halibut to speak of on board the Endeavor, no squid. So that is the missing ingredient. If you get the live squid, you got a shot at those sea bass and everything else. Doug Tilk was on that trip and said copious amounts of rockfish for everybody up there in that neck of the woods. A little bit closer to home on the Aloha Spirit, they had a yellowtail yesterday, 10 barracuda, and then limits of sheephead and some bass and that kind of stuff. They've been seeing quite a bit of yellowtail there on the Aloha Spirit. Hopefully that's going to continue to head in the right direction. All right, and then, well, no, that's it for the islands right now. Channel Islands in general. Well, let's talk about that, all right? I was going to kind of cover that on the coastal, but that would be silly. It's an island. Island Spirit's been having great fishing on the rockfish up there. That's what they've been focused on. They try to do a combo trip, so they may give the calico bass and barracuda a look for you, but for the most part, it's been really good shallow water rock fishing out of Ventura. Sport fishing you can get on the Island Spirit, and I highly recommend you do. We love their crew. The boat's great. The fishing's fantastic. 805-676-3474 or go to VenturaSportFishing.com. Thank you, Saul and Ventura Sport Fishing, for helping us collect used tackle for the kids of Cedros. I deeply, deeply appreciate you. So good rock fishing, a little bit of bass here and there. We'll continue to watch that for you very, very closely. All right, let's go down and talk about half and 3/4 day trips. Still really good fishing down there out of San Diego. What a local year it has been. It's been great. Calico bass, sand bass, occasional white sea bass, occasional yellowtail. It's been really great fishing down there on the local scene. The Dolphin had good calico bass fishing, lots of bonito. Yesterday on board the Premier, they had sand bass and bonito. It's been really, really great fishing, and that is continuing. If you want to get a bite on a bass, whether it's a sand or a calico, drop your fluorocarbon down to 15. Choose a good hot bait, and you'll outfish the guy standing next to you at the rail every single time. Bass fishing, you fish light line, you are going to get a bite. No question about that. Up here, as we move you up the coast, a lot of short calico bass, Oceanside, Dana Wharf, catch and release. There's some sheephead and whitefish occasionally here in the San Pedro, Long Beach areas. We continue to catch mostly sculpin and rockfish. There's some guys trying for the calico bass. A lot of them blame the sea lions, saying, man, we get in there, start catching a few bass, the sea lions show up and screw it all up. So I don't know. You know, we just had very poor surface fishing in terms of consistency. There's been some flashes of excellence from time to time, but overall it's been tough. But thank goodness the guys are able to send you home with some delicious eating sculpin and rockfish. Up there out of Marina Del Rey, the Spitfire had 4 halibut and then a couple of bass here and there, mostly rockfish up there out of Marina Del Rey. Also, a little bit of sand bass along the coast up there in the Channel Islands. Great lingcod, as we mentioned, up there out of Santa Barbara. We continue up to Avila Beach and Morro Bay. They are putting the wood to some big rockfish when they get good weather up there. And also, we have to mention to you that there is albacore being taken out of Half Moon Bay on a bank called the 601. 601 Bay producing some pretty good albacore fishing. That's getting pretty close to Morro Bay. We're wondering if Morro Bay is going to have an albacore season this fall. I think September, you might see some albae taken there out of Morro. We'll watch that for you very, very closely. Up in San Francisco, Superior Lake Cod, there's albacore offshore, and there's the occasional halibut also up there. So some really good fishing going on. No question about that. Don't forget, if you need a voiceover artist, I'm here for you. Whether you want to send somebody a happy birthday wish or you have a more complex voiceover job, I'm your man. Give me a call anytime and we can arrange to do that for your business or for a gag on somebody, whatever it is you want to do. Very reasonable, and I would be happy to take care of each and every one of you. Let's talk surf fishing, and let's start out with Big Fish Bait and Tackle in the beautiful city of Seal Beach, California. They are giving away a beautiful custom surf fishing rod every single month. Every month, the species changes. If you remember yesterday, I couldn't remember what the species was. Actually, I hadn't found out what it was. And then John Garma and a whole bunch of Friedman Adventure family members said, hey, dummy, it's for halibut this week. So I thank you all very, very much. Largest halibut in September taken wins that free custom rod at Big Fish Bait and Tackle. Man, that sounds like fun to me. You got to go into Big Fish, buy the ruler that they have. That's it. $5, $10. I don't know what it is. It's cheap. And then you're in the tournament. You're not only in for September, you're in for October, November, December. Also, you are in for every single month of the year. And that is fantastic. Really great stuff. They have all the bait you'll need down there. They have all the rods and reels you'll need, not only for surf fishing, but also for big game, bluefin and marlin and everything else. Surf is actually starting to come together. I see a guy down here surf fishing right now. If he catches anything, I'll wander down there and check him out with you along with me, buddy. Looks like he's setting up right now. Water temps have been a little cool. They're just starting to warm up. 71-degree water along the beaches of SoCal right now in some areas, and that bodes well. Phil Sherman was fishing 4-pound test and had that beautiful 19-inch spot fin croaker. We've also seen Nola Yan. He was down catching some yellowfin croaker, and also Ruben, Trifecta Surf, had a nice little session with some yellowfin croaker. There's some corbina wandering around here also, and that halibut is lurking and waiting for you, not only because it's fun to catch halibut from the surf, not only because it's a real sense of accomplishment, but also because you can win that free custom rod down there at Big Fish Bait and Tackle. Keep that in mind. All right, my friends, I don't know what to tell you other than it is absolutely gorgeous here this Wednesday morning. We're going to have to watch that wind out there on Tanner and Cortez. I'll be checking up on that for you. We're hoping that Sam De La Torre and the guys from Island Fishing Tackle, Tim Marquez, and so many others are having great fishing in Cedros right now. We'll watch this local bite. Uh-oh, that guy might be on a fish. We'll watch this local bite for you, and we'll continue to monitor it all for you very, very closely. All right, my friends, have a great morning. I'm going to flash you over there if he's got a fish. See if we can't see what he's got. Yeah, he does. Hold on. Can we see that? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, there he is. Trust me, that man just pulled a fish out of the water. So that is very good. And this 71-degree water is not hurting us one bit at all. I will tell you that. All right, my friends, back at you again to say goodbye. Thank you so much for all you do for Friedman Adventures. Have a great and beautiful Wednesday. And I hope to see you really, really soon. Take care, my friends. On September 24th through the 26th, we'll be on board the Apollo, and you are invited for this very special 2-day trip. It is limited to only 21 anglers, includes all meals, and should be fantastic. This is when we have our best weather months in the fall, and the Apollo, they've been on their game this year. Outstanding fishing and really nice weather. Then we're going to switch over to the Amigo out of 22nd Street Landing in San Pedro, California for another 2-day adventure. October 6th through the 8th should be another great trip. Tanner, Cortez Bank, and anywhere else the fish are. Don't forget, text me at 657-227-6459 to get on board the Apollo and or the Amigo. Best weather months of the year, and hopefully lots of fish for you to catch.